On this week's episode of the Rambler Sports Locker, the women's soccer team extended its winning streak, and I sat down with Gabby Majikowski of the women's volleyball team to discuss goals moving forward.
Also, RSL reporter Jasmine Marcos takes a look at what's trending this week on Twitter, and Ramble host Ana Marie Nunez discusses the Bears' future with Mitch Trubisky. Welcome back to another episode of the Rambler Sports Locker. I'm Claire Philby.
And I'm Haley Spittler. On Saturday, September 30th, the men's soccer team returned home to take on Central Arkansas. The conference game got off to a slow start with neither team scoring in the first half. However, just 6 minutes into the second half, the Bears scored a goal on Rambler goalkeeper Aiden Aylward. The Ramblers weren't down for long though. Freshman Lucas Imrie scored a goal off of junior Fabian Lifka's free kick. The game would enter overtime, tied at 1-1. Central Arkansas ultimately grabbed the win after scoring their second goal of the game in the second overtime period. Just 3 days later, the Ramblers hosted city rival, the UIC Flames. Loyola got on the board first after senior Kyle Thompson connected from the penalty line. The goal was Thompson's third of the season and made the score 1-0. The Flames were able to tie the game in the 77th minute after a free kick found the back of the net. The match remained tied and forced overtime for the second consecutive game. With saves from freshman goalkeeper Evan Konerman in his first collegiate start, the Flames were unable to score in overtime. However, the Ramblers were also unable to score, and after 2 overtime periods, the game ended in a tie. The Ramblers are now 4-5-1 on the season and 0-3 in conference play. They will next play in Des Moines, Iowa, when they take on the Drake University Bulldogs Saturday, October 7th.
The women's soccer team faced Missouri State University on Sunday, October 1st at Loyola Soccer Park. Senior goalkeeper Maddie Ford left the game early after a collision. Following the injury, junior Jenna Cesny scored Loyola's first goal with an assist from Emily Lang. The Ramblers led shots on goal 13-10 with 2 goals from Cesny. The Ramblers shut out the Lady Bears with a final score of 5-0. This brings their record to 10-3 on the season and 3-0 in conference play. You can catch the Ramblers back in action when they take on the Valparaiso University Crusaders at Loyola Soccer Park on Saturday, October 7th. RSL reporter Kelsey Frew has a closer look at the record-breaking offense behind the women's successful season.
Putting last season's struggles behind, the Loyola women's soccer team has put on an offensive display so far this season. Through 13 games, the Ramblers lead the Missouri Valley Conference with 47 goals. The University of Northern Iowa is the next closest MVC school with 22 goals, and they still have 5 games to go in the regular season. After scoring just 22 goals in 19 games last season, head coach Barry Bimby said he knew changes needed to be made.
The spring season was kind of funny. We changed kind of the system, put some people in some different positions, and we played well. The style was good. We created a ton of chances in the spring games, and we weren't scoring. We created more chances in our 5 spring games than I think we did in our 19 games in the fall season last year.
With one adjustment after another, the floodgates finally opened at the start of the regular season.
Had a good performance against Oklahoma State, but going on the road playing the Big 12 team, not expected to win, but our girls had a good performance. And then the next day, or on the Sunday, the opening weekend, we exploded for 6 against Oral Roberts. And I think from that game on, the confidence just grew. Like, yeah, we're on to something here, and the girls have really done a great job with it.
Loyola is averaging 3.62 goals per game, which ranks second in the NCAA. Bimby said the key to scoring at such a rapid rate is to fly out of the gate and catch the opposing team off guard.
We're getting goals kind of in the first 15-20 minutes of games, and it's been kind of our mojo all year, just get that early goal and kind of keep going from there.
Junior forward Jenna Cesny has been one of the breakout players this season. Her 10 goals lead the MVC and tie for 4th in the NCAA.
I think her first 2 years she came in with a lot of accolades coming out of high school, so I think she felt pressure to score goals. This year, the goals are coming in the run of play in just different ways, and she's really just part, a piece of what we're doing.
With just 5 games remaining, 4 of which are MVC matchups, Bimby said the team is focused on having a solid conference record to get a first-round bye in the MVC tournament.
The overall record, looks great right now. The number we're focused on as a coaching staff and the girls are is the conference. We're 3-0 in the conference, and we're one bid league for the NCAA tournament, so they know getting that 1 or 2 seed to get that bye is important, but winning the conference tournament, that's the big goal. All the other stuff is great, the scoring goals, the record, but this group, they're really focused on winning the conference tournament.
For the Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Kelsey Frew.
For the past several weeks, NFL players have caused a lot of controversy regarding the national anthem. RSL reporter Jasmine Marcos has more on this week's trending.
For this week's trending, I'm taking a closer look at hashtags surrounding the ongoing controversy regarding NFL teams and players kneeling during the national anthem. All eyes were on week 4 of the NFL as the protests during the national anthem continued. It's been a week since the league drew national attention for the protests, and this past weekend was no different. Sunday night saw several teams and players participating in different displays of protest. 6 members of the Seattle Seahawks sat on the bench during the anthem while their opponents, the Indiana Colts, stood on the sidelines with their arms locked together. In London, the New Orleans Saints took a knee just before the anthem played at their game against the Miami Dolphins. As for the Dolphins, only 3 of its members were seen kneeling on the sideline. Meanwhile, at their game against the Arizona Cardinals, around 30 San Francisco 49ers knelt during the song while the rest of the team stood behind them. While the 49ers were kneeling, they received heavy boos from the crowd. NFL fans haven't been shy in joining the controversy and have taken to social media to express their opinions. Among the more popular hashtags used by fans have been hashtag take a knee and hashtag NFL boycott. There's obviously a difference of opinion amongst the public. There are some who support the NFL players' displays of protest, arguing that they have the right to do so because they're exercising their freedom of expression. There are others, though, who don't agree with the players' actions and find it disrespectful towards the national anthem, the country, and those in uniform who defend it. President Trump has been vocal about the controversy on Twitter. He has blasted players and called on NFL owners to take action against players who kneel. With Trump continuing to tweet about the NFL and players responding with even more displays, it seems like a never-ending fight. As of now, there hasn't been any official word from the NFL. However, we can probably expect the controversy to continue as we move into the next week. For more on this debate, check out the hashtag take a knee and hashtag NFL boycott on Twitter. For the Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Jasmine Marcos. Back to you, Claire.
Thanks, Jasmine. The men's cross-country team traveled to Notre Dame, Indiana on Friday, September 29th to race in the Notre Dame Invitational. Loyola placed 5th out of 20 teams with a total of 155 points. The Ramblers were just 2 points behind Indiana State Sycamores. The Invitational was won by Temple University with a score of 76 points. Redshirt senior Alex Baker placed 5th in the 5-mile race with a time of 24 minutes and 46.7 seconds. The next Rambler to cross the finish line was junior Kevin White, who placed 29th with a time of 25 minutes and 29 seconds. I talked to Alex Baker about this being his final season with Loyola.
Just constantly going into every race and just kind of telling myself, this is pretty much like the last time I'm going to be here. So just got to put everything out there that I can and really just kind of enjoy, I guess, the last moments I have.
Women's cross country ran in the Greater Louisville Classic this past Saturday, September 30th in Louisville, Kentucky. The team was led by senior Emma Hatch and redshirt junior Lindsey Brewis. The Ramblers finished 19th out of the 32 teams that competed, putting them 1 place ahead of MVC conference rival Illinois State. Loyola had a team total of 564 at the race, which was a significant amount more than Boise State, who took home the win with their low score of 74 points. This past week, the Ramblers were ranked in the 13th spot on the U.S. Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association's NCAA Division I Women's Cross Country Regional Rankings. Both the men and women's team will next compete at the Bradley Classic, hosted by Bradley University on Friday, October 13th in Peoria, Illinois.
The men's golf team traveled to Des Moines, Iowa to golf in the Zach Johnson Invitational hosted by Drake University. The men notched 309 strokes during the first round and 322 during the second, resulting in a 631 stroke total for the first day. This left the team tied for 8th place. Sophomore Nick Weldon scored 75 points in the first round and 76 in the second. He finished the first day in a tie for 21st with a 2-round total of 151 strokes. The second day, the men shot 318, giving Loyola a final total of 949 points, earning them 8th place. Indiana Hills Community College clinched the first place spot with a final score of 875 strokes. Wilden stayed consistent during the third round with 77 strokes for a 3-round total of 228, finishing the tournament in 27th place. The men's team will next golf at the Wyndham Memorial hosted by Northwestern in Skokie, Illinois on October 8th and 9th.
The Chicago Bears have not seen much success with their starting quarterback Mike Glennon. They are 1-3 on the season and looking to improve with first-round pick and quarterback Mitch Trubisky.
Ana Maria Nunez and her Ramble analysts discuss Trubisky's playing against the Minnesota Vikings in this week's Ramble.
Hi, welcome back to this week's Ramble. My name is Ana Maria Nunez, and I'm here with Ramble analysts Alfredo Rodriguez and Marlon Vargas. This week we'll be discussing the NFL, and my question for you guys is, do you think the Bears did the right thing by benching Mike Glennon and making Mitchell Trubisky a starting quarterback for this Monday's game against the Vikings? Marlon, what are your thoughts about this?
I definitely believe that they did make the right choice. It was something that they needed to do, and these past 2 seasons with their 9-23 record, the only option they have is to win. And a fresh face to the team not only adds, new techniques, but also it adds new techniques that the team would have to adopt. And with this guy was made for football. He's 6'3", he's like a perfect mold for the team. And in college in North Carolina, he had a perfect, 68% of the passes, he was the one that made them. It's incredibly significant. And that shows not only what he can do, but what he will be able to do in the upcoming seasons and these upcoming games. Monday's game should definitely not be taken as a determining factor of what the season will look like, but it will definitely be something new that we will see from the Bears. And it will be something, just brand new.
Right, okay. And Alfredo, what are your thoughts about this?
I think Mitch Trubisky is not the guy for the Chicago Bears. I think he was kind of a desperate decision by GM Ryan Pace when he drafted him in the second round draft pick of the last draft. The Bears have been a team who have been struggling with Jay Cutler, with the Jay Cutler era. And if the guy coming out from college, if a guy coming out fresh from college was the guy for the Bears, it would not have been Mitch Trubisky, it would have been Deshaun Watson.
Right. Mike, regarding what you were saying, he only played 13 games, starting 30 games in college, so that's not so much experience. He's gonna be in his first NFL game ever. And
I completely understand what you guys are both saying. However, he was the number 2 most drafted in the NFL for a reason, He didn't get to where he is just by playing 13 games and being good. The guy has skill, and he will show that on and off the field. And he acknowledges the fact that he is a rookie and that he doesn't have that much experience, but he's willing to learn, he's willing to work hard, and willing to drive the team to the winning goal.
Okay, Alfredo, and for you, the Bears had such a bad game record that what do you think they should have done? If not bench Glennon and put in Trubisky, what was the other option?
Well, the other option was completely renew the wide receiving offense. The best wide receiver of the team, Cameron Meredith, is out for the season. So Kevin White and Kendall Wright, they're not enough, let's say, for enough material for Trubisky to work with. The team is widely relying on its running game. Jordan Howard and Tyreek Cohen, the team made a good job in that part of the offense, but I think they failed in both the QB and the wide receiving line.
Okay, guys, closing statements, real quick.
My closing statement is to simply do not doubt the rookies.
Okay, and Fredo?
My closing statement is that Trubisky was a desperate get-out-of-Jay Cutler move.
Well, I would have to agree with Marlon this week because I think there's nothing else the Bears can do to this point. They need fresh game, fresh players. And so, Marlon, you're the winner this week. And thank you, you guys. Back to you at the desk.
I actually think I'd have to agree with Marlon on this one. I don't think that the Bears gave Trubisky a fair shot during the preseason. I think he deserves his chance to prove himself.
Alrighty then. On Sunday, October 1st, the women's volleyball team faced MVC newcomer Valparaiso at home in Gentile Arena. Coming in with 8 straight losses, the Ramblers looked to win against the conference rival. Valparaiso took the first 2 sets with scores of 25-19 and 25-15. However, the Ramblers did fight back to claim the 3rd set with a score of 25-18. This was the first set the women had won in 3 matches. Valparaiso won the 4th set and the match with a score of 25-16. Junior Gabby Majikowski had a season-high 17 kills that evening. I talked with Majikowski about how the team is viewing this losing season.
This is like a very unique team where we won't have any seniors this year, and so we have 2 years together, like all the same girls, and so I think we're using this year as like somewhat of like a building block for next year.
Majikowski also mentioned that the team needs to work on communicating on the court, but that they have been improving in practice. The Ramblers are now 1-14 on the season and 0-4 in conference play. They will compete next in Normal, Illinois against Illinois State University on Friday, October 6th.
For our full episodes and a chance to get in on the conversation, follow and like our social media handles for an up-to-date look on all things Rambler Sports.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Haley Spittler.
And I'm Claire Philby. Check back next week for another episode of the Rambler Sports Locker.
And as always, don't forget to turn out the lights.